Hey guys, welcome back to your Daily Dose. Today we're talking about The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 13, Episode 14. And I really wanted to know who was going to be the one to tell Kenya. And it was Marlo. This episode starts off with Phelan and Marlo hanging out at her new business called The Archive. I guess she is renting out the designer clothes that she has in her closet. In any case, so Phelan's there. She's inviting Marlo to her Halloween party, but Marlo is saying that she had a previous engagement and he couldn't make it. Then in walks Kenya. They kiki for a moment. Phelan also invites her to the party and tells her to really give her all to the Halloween costume because she's really doing all this stuff to her house. She's kicking her husband out and she's excited to have the girls over. So Kenya says that she'll be there and then Phelan leaves. So then Marlo drops the bomb. So Marlo says that, in conversation, LaToya told the girls that Kenya and Mark were getting a divorce and that he was seeking spousal support. It made it seem kind of malicious on LaToya's part when she said that. And although I think she knew better than to say it, I also think that she said it in the moment in defense of Kenya. Like if you go back and watch the episode, it seems like she was trying to say Kenya was going through a lot and blurted out what she was going through when she shouldn't have. And she should have known better than to do that. So in any case, Kenya seemed like she wasn't even surprised and just said that she's tired of, inviting the wrong people in her circle. She doesn't know what she's going to do with LaToya, but she'll talk to her about it at another time. But then she and Marlo seem to really, relax around each other and start to have a lot of fun. And it turns out Kenya is the first person to support this new business of Marlo's, which she kind of owes her because you did blow up that girl's wig launch party. So yeah, support this business the right way. Then we have a bunch of transitional scenes. Nothing that really stood out to me, right? So you have Drew and her mother talking about her mother's adoption and adoption in general and how it affects the family, just because that's going to come up in conversation later this episode with Drew and her husband and her son. Also to come out of that conversation, she's saying she's going to invite the girls to New Orleans for a girls trip. Since Drew has to be there from business, Drew also has some family ties there, so they talk about that. We also get Portia feeding PJ and Kenya hanging out with her cousin, and then Candy is also exercising because she apparently gained some weight over the whole pandemic and she needs to lose it because she just got a new movie role. And so she needs to shed it in order to get ready to go ahead and film that. From there we go to Cynthia and Mike. They are, showing off their newlywed glow. They look really cute hanging out, holding hands and whatever. And Mike says, you know what? I think that we together should buy a home here in Atlanta, and that should be our main space. So he's going to keep his home in LA, and he wants Cynthia to keep Lake Bailey, but he thinks it's a good idea for them to have a home together, where both of them can have their individual space and they have space for their daughters when they come to visit and that type of thing. In the middle of that conversation, Drew calls Cynthia and invites her to the girls' trip to New Orleans, which was funny because in that invitation, she low-key shades Kenya, saying that she's going to show them how to do it, and her husband happened to get the ladies a private jet. So I already told you all I really like Drew, so I'm excited to see where we go from here. So we have Drew speaking to her husband Ralph about her ex, who happens to be her son's father. When she was pregnant, he got sent to jail, and her son maybe has met him once when he was 2, when she took him to the jail to meet him. But the son seems to be a bit disinterested now, right? So he's formed this bond with Ralph, and Ralph has stepped in to be that father figure. He calls Ralph dad, so it's kind of a strong bond. So the son doesn't necessarily feel like he needs anything else. And Drew is also apprehensive because she doesn't know if the father will be consistent and what he's doing with his life, if it's going to be safe or if he's going to be a good example for their son. So Ralph basically says to her, listen, no matter what, you don't want him to grow up and say you're the reason why he didn't have a relationship with his father. So he kind of calms her nerves a little bit and encourages her to encourage her son. So they together have a family meeting and talk to her son about his father that they both call old daddy, wanting to reach out to him, spend some time with him, wanting to talk with him. And the son seemed completely disinterested. He seemed to understand he's 9, but he just also didn't care and didn't want to. So Ralph stepped up and tried to encourage him a little bit by sharing his own story. Apparently Ralph's father wasn't around that much, and so he's grown to really appreciate father figures, and he tried to really put that onto the son. So by the end of the conversation, the son went from being a hard, adamant no to a maybe in the future. So next we have Phelan's party. So first we get Cynthia to come through. She's a hand sanitizer. Then we have Candy come in. I think she's a cheetah. She's some sort of wild animal cat. After her, we get Shamia, who's a cute little astronaut. Then we have Kenya, who's a Native American, and I will speak on that in a moment. And then after that, we have Drew, who is a cat, like from the musical Cats. So all the ladies come in. Most of them were actually entertained and slightly scared by Phelan's haunted house setup, and I guess in the first piece of her house. Except for Kenya, she seemed to be unimpressed by it. Everyone else came in. They had great things to say, except they were all kind of commenting about the foods in their confessional. Apparently it wasn't that much food. In any case, Kenya's outfit, just a brief moment. Every time I saw her, all I could think about was every time people have worn similar headpieces over the past couple years, the Native American community has made it a point to stop wearing their traditional garb as a costume, because it actually means something to them and is not meant to be made a joke or a caricature. So it seemed really surprising to me that she decided to don this, because Kenya is smart. I think she makes a conscious effort to bring the drama. I think that she knows what kind of character she's playing on this show. So I don't take too much of that seriously. I was just surprised that she would don this, because again, I think that she's one of the more intelligent women across all the Housewives franchises. So none of the ladies said anything to her face about it, but I believe Portia and Drew said something in their confessionals. But anyway, besides the point, Kenya, when all the ladies are sitting there, makes a comment about Marlo being sick and then being unable to make it. And then Candy and Shamia found it funny that Kenya all of a sudden is the one with news about Marlo before everyone else. And I don't want to forget, Phelan actually had my favorite costume of the night. She was Medusa. She had the glittery, glowy skin makeup going, a cute little bustier going on, and a snake wig, and it looked kind of real because the snakes were rubbering, so it's kind of bouncing when she was moving. So that was cute. But anyway, I digress. So the ladies are sitting at the table talking, and then in walks LaToya. And again, guys, I don't know what LaToya is on. All the drama that sparked tonight was regarding LaToya. She comes in, sits at the table, and congratulates Fallon on her house and saying that this is what dating a 65-year-old does. Demands that someone makes her drink, to the point where Fallon was like, okay, everyone else made their own drink, but I will get up and make this for you so you can shut up. And just so you know, rich people don't act this way, broke people do. So get your life together. You think you're doing something, but you're not. The ladies then toast shots, and right before the shots, LaToya is kind of poking at Kenya, talking about how she's been ignoring her calls and her text message and all that stuff. And Kenya says, girl, you've been moved on since Charleston, implying that she's now, up Portia's butt. LaToya says, I don't know what you're talking about. The ladies go around in a circle and they start to take shots to the positive things that are going on. So they take a shot to Cynthia because she is recently married, and they take a shot to Candy because she just got a new movie role. Kenya takes the opportunity to bring LaToya outside for a chat, and Phelan, while she's gone, is expressing to the ladies how upset and irritated she is with Phelan for disrespecting her home. Outside, we get Kenya confronting LaToya about what she heard she said in front of the room full of Portias and Shamias, and essentially people who we all know don't really bang with her like that. So LaToya is, she did a lot of things in this conversation. None of it made sense. One, she tried to make it seem like she mentioned it because Candy mentioned it first, so she thought everybody knew, which again is still a immature assumption. I think that's still something she should have known better than to say. Then she said that she mentioned it because she had to defend her. She felt like she needed to defend Kenya and give people a reason for why she's acting the way she's acting. And Kenya's contention is she's done nothing wrong. You saying that you have to justify my behavior is implying that I'm doing something wrong. But the other ladies are the one that slept with the stripper, not Kenya. But I will interject to say yes and no. So to you and everyone else in your corner, like the Cynthias and the Candies who are trying not to check you for what you're doing, everyone else thinks you did something wrong. Everyone else says whatever an adult is doing at this adult party is that adult's business and shouldn't be shared on camera. It's not really cool. But I digress. Whether or not she did something wrong is, I guess, subjective. And LaToya happens to also think that she did something wrong, and that's why LaToya felt the need to justify her behavior. And she could have just left it at, Kenya's going through a lot of stuff right now, as you all know, and I think that it's affecting her, and she's lashing out in this way, period. She didn't need to put all that extra stuff out there, and then try to blame it on being tipsy or blame it on Candy. But anyway, the conversation seems to be going nowhere. LaToya is in 1 second trying to explain herself, and in the other second not really taking it seriously. So Kenya's kind of like, why am I even doing this? So they both go upstairs to the party. So by that time, Portia's arrived, and she was actually looking for LaToya because she wanted to see where her outfit was, and Phelan said she's a broke-ass mermaid, which was actually pretty funny. But in any case, in walks LaToya. She and Portia hug, but then eventually, like within a couple minutes, LaToya says that she's leaving, and Portia says that she'll walk her to the door, but LaToya asked Kenya to walk her to the door, and Kenya said no. Portia said she'll walk you, let her walk you. So in any case, Portia and LaToya are out front, and LaToya brings up the conversation she just had with Kenya, and LaToya says, I'm trying to understand what the issue is between both of you because I feel like I'm in the middle. So Portia essentially says, I'm not sure why you feel that way because anything that you got going on with Kenya is none of my business. So she said that LaToya said that she's that Kenya is mad at her for saying her business regarding her marriage and her divorce. And Portia's like, yeah, I mean, that's not news. I could have told you that. It's obvious she was going to be mad. And as for she being mad because I made out with you, that's none of my business. Anything that's going on with you or her is literally none of my business. I'm over here minding my business. Gotta say, I'm loving Portia's attitude in this situation. And actually this whole season so far, when it comes to Kenya, she's not really paying her any attention. In any case, Kenya's inside and she says that she is ready to go. So Fallon and Cynthia walk her to the door. They come outside right when Portia was saying to LaToya, if you continue down this path, it's going to drive a wedge between our budding friendship, because again, I don't want any drama with Kenya. I don't want anything to do with Kenya. I just want us to exist, and you keep bringing it up and trying to stir things up. It's not a good look. In any case, Fallon comes out and is genuinely friendly and is saying, hey ladies, what are you guys talking about out here on my stoop? So as soon as they come out and she says that, LaToya starts to walk towards her car, and Portia says, yeah, she just, said she's ready to go. So Fallon says, why are you ready to go? What's wrong? And LaToya goes, I just feel like the energy's off. And she actually comes back and sits down beside Portia, and Fallon is sitting on the other side of Portia. So Fallon, my new favorite. Love her, because she is really not about that I'm going to talk behind your back until this whole thing blows over thing. She's about that life. Anyway, she says to LaToya, maybe the energy is off because you're coming into my house talking all this stuff and disrespecting my husband. LaToya didn't know what to say, and Portia just got up like, I don't want to sit in the middle of this. And so she got up and went inside. And LaToya started to walk towards her car. So anyway, as she was walking, Fallon said something along the lines of broke mermaid or something like that. And then LaToya says, well, this isn't your house. And then Fallon starts to talk about how she had 3 sons before she was 31 years old. I guess she was trying to... This whole conversation seemed chopped and screwed. So I guess she was talking about something when it came to that. And LaToya screams, by 3 baby daddies. LaToya also makes some comments insinuating that her husband has some erectile dysfunction problems. They just seem to go back and forth. Fallon calls her a trini. But again, it seems chopped and screwed, and we later find out, if you're into the whole Instagram thing and following these conversations while they're happening live and the day after, that LaToya also called Fallon a derogatory term towards Asian, and that's why she responded with that. But anyway, they continue to go back and forth until we cut to the ladies. So I guess it's Candy, Portia, and Drew sitting around the kitchen table just talking about whatever's going on, and they hear screaming, and the next thing you know, you see Fallon running like Speedy Gonzalez through her kitchen into her garage. Shamia actually gets up, she was also with them, to go and stop Fallon. And Fallon was in her garage looking for the golf clubs because she was about to go swing on Drew, which I found hilarious, because, to be completely honest, I don't condone violence, but I also don't think that it's right for you to be in someone's home disrespecting them like this and then also not leaving. It's almost like you're taunting them. And Fallon tried to keep it cute for quite some time, but LaToya was just taking advantage of that. So security finally got, or maybe production got, LaToya to finally leave, and they got Fallon to calm down. They got her to put down the golf club. I think she eventually went upstairs, and all the other ladies left, but they also were like, this is not acceptable. And they seem to be on Fallon's side. Like, you can't come to somebody's house and disrespect their husband and, talk stuff about their kids and things like that. It's not cool, and you're lucky that it was this sort of situation, because that couldn't just happen anywhere else. But anyway, y'all, that was The Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 13, episode 14. Let me know what you thought of the episodes in the comments below. Go ahead and like the video. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you next time. Peace.